there are two kinds of stories generally, by and large. There are supposedly two kinds of stories. One is the unique story, which is supposed to be an authored story. It's unique in some way. It's a story unlike any other. That kind of thing would be the unique story. The other would be the formulaic. It belongs to patterns of some sort. Okay, why are these patterns there? Okay, why are patterns there in stories? They fall into groupings of various sorts. Stories are not independent stories completely. They always, like, if even for you, our tendency is to put our whatever narratives into some kind of story form. So if I ask you about your life, what kind of life have you had, the chances are that you'll come up with a story of some sort. That is, your life would fit into some pattern. It would be like some film hero somewhere. Something would happen. It would be constructed in some way, right? So the point is that stories fall into groupings, and these groupings are very interesting. Why is but the reason is that there are certain aspects of experience that stories are supposed to do, and there are basic concerns like family happiness is a concern, affirmation that life has a purpose is a concern, a question of creation, God, etc. is a religious question. This is one concern. Good over bad, victory of good over evil would be one concern. So the question is that because these basic requirements are there for human beings, the kind of stories constructed, curiosity, shall we say, the adventure, the need for adventure, all these are concerns, right? These are all requirements of human beings. So therefore, stories are constructed in order to affirm these various requirements of human beings. It's like this, okay? If you take a cricket field, right? You take a cricket match, right? Why are there specific positions, long on, long off, silly mid off, gully? Why are these positions there? Any idea? After all, the field is empty. I mean, infinite space. It could be anywhere, right? You could put a fielder anywhere, right? Why are these things there? What do they correspond to? They
The same,
correspond to
yeah,
those shot making abilities, right? Based on where
exactly.
your
The
joints are.
formulaic,
How do you
the
stand?
aspect of it.
Okay, my
Yeah.
arm is here. I got to hold a bat with two hands. I got to pull means I got to do it this way. So it actually is dependent on the structure of your body. If you had, for example, only one hand to play cricket in, then your entire position of your field would change to something else, right? So the question is, it's again fits your it fits the requirements of human beings in some way. Similarly, based on your physical joints, your structure of your body. Similarly, stories fit what you say requirements of what are the basic requirements of human beings, and therefore you have
But
limited
so
number of formulae.
I have this question. Like, there's a distinction between narrative fiction and narrative non-fiction, right?
Yeah,
uh, when it comes to a narrative non-fiction and a story,
yeah,
like a well-rounded story. Now,
yeah.
what if the non-fictional aspect of that narrative is very much rounded? It's very much filled with anticipation and all those tropes that a story necessarily has. Would it still be called a non-fiction, or like,
No,
or
it would be
yeah,
fiction. No, it wouldn't be fiction. It would be a story. I'll tell you what. See, one of the basic things you've got to understand is that there are no facts, right? Like if I were to ask you what happened yesterday, right? If I were to ask you what happened yesterday, you'll have to construct that with a certain meaning, right? I mean, you will certainly leave out something that between I held my breath at exactly 11:02. Okay, suppose you held your breath because there was some stink which was coming on the road. You're not going to give me that, right? You've selected certain events.
true.
So the normal tendency of people is to take fact and weave it into some kind of story. Stories may, so that's there, but generally, that is always there. So the tendency is for people to turn narratives into fiction, into shall we say stories. It's like history as well, right? A Marxist historian, okay, would make some kind of truth out of events. It's not a recounting of events alone. A Marxist historian would do this. A nationalist historian would tell a different kind of story, right? So the question is, I mean, is this making clear? Am I making sense to
So,
you?
like, basically, what you're trying to say is that a story can be non-fiction as well,
It
but
can be.
yeah, but it
It's
need a
possible.
story need not to be fictional.
Yeah, it's not
Like this,
necessarily fiction,
yeah.
but the point is narrative non-fiction itself has a fictional component in it, right? That's what the point I'm trying to make. So
Yeah.
finally, what it amounts to is a story has to be complete. A simple recounting, which is a narrative, is not a this thing on itself. Okay, by and large, stories are fiction, but not necessarily so. It can be turned into. It'll have to be fictionalized in some way to make it a story. Okay, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the general tendency of in the film world, the general tendency is to look down upon formulaic fiction, right? The reason this came about is that this entire thing of formula, this entire thing, the original work of art, this romantic notion of 19th century romanticism, the original work of art was valorized in some way, that original work of art. But actually, this is this means that what are called genre cinema is different from what are called art house cinema. Now, you look at Indian art cinema, for instance, you will find, for example, a lot of it would not belong to genre. Let us take something like uh, Lunchbox, right? Take some film like Lunchbox. Lunchbox wouldn't, it will be art house in some sense. It does not belong to any genre in that sense. But the point is that all stories in some way or other will have precursors in some way, right? They'll have precursors. There'll be some story of some sort somewhere. If you look around, you'll find something similar. Probably in some French movie, you'll find something similar to Lunchbox. You'll find something. There'll be precursors.
But sir, say like a French film that like Lunchbox or any of that film for that matter, which is considered to be art house in that sense. But see, Lunchbox clearly has very defined tropes of the romantic genre.
Yeah, but
That
romance is not a genre. There are certain classes of genre, like for example, romance is too broad. I'll go into that. Okay, romance itself is not a genre. Okay, the genre has to belong in like for example, your Mills and Boon is a genre. But the question is that it's too the word romance is too broad a term to apply to all kinds of things where there is love, right? Okay, it's not a genre in that sense. It's
yeah.
not a genre the way the Western is a genre. It's not a way the whodunit is a genre. Okay, if you take a whodunit, it's very pakka, the kind of elements which have to go into whodunit. You know what a whodunit, like Sherlock
Yeah,
Holmes,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, a whodunit has but a romance is a much broader thing. It's not a genre in that sense. It's a theme, you could say, thematically, you could say genre, you could say,
But
but
then,
it's,
but then there are certain. Okay, we'll be getting into
we'll
genres
get into
as
that.
we
Okay,
go.
we'll get
Yeah,
into that. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So the point is that by and large, it is the art house film which is generally held up. Your art house cinema is what is generally gets your awards in Cannes and Berlin. The Oscar winners are all art house cinema by and large. Okay, genre cinema. But if you look at the history of American cinema, for instance, you will find that the greatest movies ever made. Who are the great directors from America? You could say
Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola,
Coppola,
yeah.
probably this chap,
Alfred
what's his
Hitchcock,
name? Hitchcock, okay. Hitchcock,
yeah,
Ford, Hawks,
but,
Nicholas
yeah,
Ray, okay. Raoul Walsh,
Elia Kazan, yeah,
all of them worked with genre. And
yes,
you look at it this way, you will find that none of these people who worked with genre have won the best film Oscar. Very rare.
true,
Hitchcock did not get it for his best movies, he got it for Rebecca,
yeah,
which is actually a minor film. It's not a major film. Major film would be Vertigo, it will be Rear Window. By and large, you don't get it. Gangster films will not get it. Westerns, by and large, I think Unforgiven got it.
yeah,
Okay,
Unforgiven got it, yeah,
got it. Yeah, by and large, these genre films don't get Oscars. Genre films are not even allowed in Cannes by and large. Okay, if you look at, for example, one of the great American films of the 70s, something like Chinatown.
yeah,
Chinatown, no
yeah.
award, right? Probably must have got best music or best screenplay or best costume or some such thing.
I think it was,
Godfather,
yeah. Some
yeah,
festivals it went to, yeah.
yeah, but it won't. By and large, it is not the kind of film. Pulp Fiction, for instance, is genre cinema. He does all kinds of things with genre, but it is not the kind of film which will win an Oscar for best film, right?
Yeah,
Best film.
but it did win the Palme d'Or that year. Like won the
Oh
best
yeah, it's
picture.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah, it happens once in a way. Godfather is a, for example, a gangster film.
yeah,
Okay, but it's not completely gangster film. It's got elements which are from epic and all that, like for example going back 50 years, flashback and this and that, which normally gangster films by and like for example Scarface is a gangster film.
yeah.
Okay,
A
it is not.
Goodfellas or
It's a
Scarface would
very
not
different
win.
kind of
Yeah,
gangster
yeah,
film from Godfather, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
so Godfather is not a fully gangster film, but it works on this level, right?
yeah.
Okay, now up to here no problem, no? Okay. Now, um, like if you look at art house cinema, you will find that the great classics of art house cinema, The Bicycle Thief, probably Pater Panchali, all of them actually belong in certain in formulaic thing in some sense. It's not admitted. One, for example, Bicycle Thief belongs to this thing of the boy growing up, the boy,
Coming of age film.
coming of age
Yeah.
thing. Same thing with Pater Panchali. It's probably the same
Yeah,
thing
yeah, of
with
course. The whole trilogy, the Apu trilogy, is
yeah,
the coming of age,
coming
greatest
of
coming of
age
age
thing, right?
trilogy. Yeah.
Coming of age. Your Gatesh Radha of Kasarvalli is also coming of age. So the basic thing that coming of age, it's not exactly a genre, but it's a generally a kind of trope they use, a kind of thing they use in order to. So what happens is that finally all stories will have precursors of some sort. It's not that there is anything truly original, right? So the question is, Bicycle Thieves, for example, the Italian neorealists, they use the old men, for example. I think Umberto D, old people, victims, suffering, alone, lonely old people. Piravi, who use that. Okay, in Shaji's Piravi, use this man of the old man who's waiting. His son is dead. He's been tortured by the police, and he's waiting for the son to come back. All this is part of it. So the question is that there's really nothing which can be called original in that sense. Okay, but the point is that these stories have always existed. These are basic fundamental stories. Why do these fundamental stories form themselves into genres? Now let us look at the various kind of American genres. For example, westerns. You're aware of what the western is, right? You're aware of what the spy film is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now by and large, the Western, if you look at where the origins came from, what is the Western? Where do you think the origins of the Western, historical origins of Western, where they came from? What do you
I
think?
think pre-Civil War era from America.
It's basically to do with the origins of the West of the American state. It has to do with the civilization being brought to the savages society. That's basically the
Yeah,
thing. So
yeah.
Ford, the father of the American Western, probably the yeah, the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, not so much. No, I'll tell you why. Why it's so. It's not a precursor of psycho. I don't think so. I think it is more a precursor of Bergman, cabinet of Dr. Caligari. If you've seen Bergman's, I think,
No, I think what he or she means is from this is that in terms of the storytelling, like there's this character who, I mean, there's this whole, because
yeah,
of course
in
we can
some
see
way, yeah,
Doctor,
it could probably,
yeah,
yeah,
Doctor,
yeah.
the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari
It can
as a genre
possibly,
film as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
Fritz Lang was also
It is, yeah, it's because it's pre-genre of before one of the earliest
exactly.
movies. But
Yeah,
yeah, you could say that Hitchcock has probably is not taken from here, but it's fulfilling a basic urge, right? So the question is, let's go to this. Okay,
yeah,
so the question is, you've got spy movies, you've got westerns, right?
yeah,
The westerns would necessarily be the origins of the American state. It would have something to do with the cowboys. The Red Indians were a key motive in the early westerns, right?
yeah,
Subsequently, they went away. Other things started happening. The western got revised in some way. Then you have spy films, whereas spy films are basically Cold War, right? Cold War
yeah,
films,
yeah.
basically Cold War. Then you look at musicals. Now let us take two things like musicals. When did the musicals come? American musical. First of all, the advent of sound.
Yeah,
When was the advent
1929.
of sound? 1930, around 1930,
1929. Yeah, the first time
29.
they,
Okay,
yeah,
around that.
29.
Now,
Yeah,
what was the key historical event around 1929, 30,
the
30,
Great
31?
Depression.
Depression, right? And
Yeah,
the question is, the musicals were done as a way of sort of escape from the ethos, the public ethos, because of the depression. So the entire, it was cheering up the people with music was a kind of thing. Stalin also had musicals in the Soviet Union somewhere after the war, about that time, right? Or even
yeah,
before the war, I think workplace musicals and all that. It was necessary when the people are in a low state of psychological, in a depressed state. You got to liven them up. There was another thing which came out of the depression. The other thing was the noir.
yeah.
Noir. Okay.
No,
The point is noir. Like, what is the thing of noir? It is something like, what is the basic thing of noir? It is the fact that ordinary people are brought into to commit crime.
Commit
It's
crime.
basically nobody can be trusted. Greed, because money is in short supply. You're desperately trying to make good. You will ordinary person who's actually in a decent person commits crime. Okay, this is the basic thing of noir. Now, noir and the musical both came out of the depression. One is the yes and one is the
Two
no.
extremes of the
Yeah,
depression.
similarly, what is the opposite of the western?
What's the opposite of the Western?
Western, when I say opposite, I mean out of the same thing of the American state, the great yes to the American dream, that is the Western, the great no to the American dream. What is
Gangster
what?
films.
Yeah, right. What is the first line uttered in Godfather?
I believe in America.
Yeah, right. Okay, I believe in America, right? So it's
Yeah.
basically an ironic thing. When he says I believe in America, it's basically about the American dream going sour. So the point is, what I'm trying to make is all these to basically make use of or I mean make use of basic historical moments, which doesn't mean that these stories cannot precede the historical moment, because the stories are there. What would you think is the earliest noir story that you can think of?
The earliest Noah film
Story, not the
story.
film. Yeah.
Earliest Noah story. I don't
What
know.
is this? Or
Like,
the
yeah.
person killing somebody,
But yeah, someone killing someone. Yeah, yeah.
committing sin. What does it be? Cain and Abel,
Cain
right?
and Abel. Yeah, yeah,
Cain and
yeah,
Abel
yeah,
would be some kind of noir story, right?
yeah,
So the
yeah.
basic point is these stories have always been there, but the question is when a certain historical event takes place, these get grouped around the event in some way. They become kind of they become sort of furthered by that thing of the event. So other kind of genres are sci-fi, science fiction. Science
Yeah,
fiction, by and large, there are two. One is disaster. What would be
yeah.
disaster film in science
Disaster
fiction?
films would be like say Independence Day or
Right, right.
2012 or
The other
yeah.
is horror. What would be horror in the
Horror
science
would
fiction?
in the science
Alien.
alien
Alien.
invasions.
Right?
Yeah, War of
Alien.
the Worlds
Alien.
and yeah.
Yeah, Alien. No, War of the Worlds would be disaster. Alien would be horror.
But War of the Worlds was about an alien invasion, right?
No, I know, no. But I'm saying when I'm the movie Alien.
Oh, okay. Oh, Alien. Okay.
You see,
Okay.
that is horror. You see, that
Yeah,
emotion
yeah,
is
yeah,
very different from the emotion of War of the Worlds, which is much closer to
yeah,
Independence
yeah,
Day, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So War of the Worlds is I'm making sense to everybody? Is everybody following? Please, if there's anything,
Yeah.
please
If
ask
anyone
me
has a
question.
question, please.
Please, okay. No, it's all right. No, okay. So the question is that these are all, there are horror, there is noir. Horror, for instance, is very difficult to find horror, historical event around horror. It's very difficult. Okay. It's not true that all genres should be located in some historical moment, but that seems to be the general tendency. Okay. Then you've got biblical epics, you've got gangster films, you've got mythological films in India would be mythological films in India itself would be of it's a recognizable genre, but there is a you've got your Telugu mythological film, which is very different from your Saint film, which came out in Hindi, right? Or Marathi.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
in the 40s, before the 40s, the Saint film.
Yeah,
Whereas your
Shantaram.
mythological of the N.T. Ramarao thing, it's Rama Krishna, which is a completely different thing. Then you've got your Jai Santoshima, which was I think in the 75 or so,
Yeah.
which is another kind of mythological film. So these are all not part of one genre, but you use one term. Sports film, is it a genre?
Sports film. Yeah, of course, it's a genre.
Why is it a genre? What is the formula? Is there
The
a formula
formula,
in the
the
sports
formula
film?
here, like it's basically putting an underdog. Mostly, it's an underdog
Yeah,
story of a
correct. Okay.
yeah,
It's a story of some person who's trying to get on, who's trying to do something. He has a talent, something happens. Usually, by and large, in a sports thing, something comes in the way, he suffers, and he comes down. He's taken advantage of, and finally, he struggles to come up once again. This is a standard sports film. I don't know if you've seen Downhill Racer, this kind of stuff. A lot of sports films, football
breaking
films, there are
away.
plenty of
Yeah,
them. So something happens, and finally affirmation of usually the number of them on football. I think there were those on tennis. I'm not so sure. There are all these sports films. They also have a certain formula. A romance is a
okay.
different thing.
Abhishek
Romance,
has a question: is
please.
drama a genre?
Drama is not. Drama is actually not a genre at all. It's close to art house, right? What we call drama in Hollywood is, which means that it's basically not part of any genre, but it's art house. It's actually art house is called drama in Hollywood. That's kind of thing. So what you would call art house? What a Hollywood art house film? Citizen Kane would be art house because it doesn't have a genre anyway. A lot of Wells's stuff would be. Lynch would be art house. Okay, but if they wanted to give it an award, they'll call it drama. Okay, or they'll call it drama. They wouldn't call it. What would they call Lynch? They wouldn't call it fantasy.
Yeah, like, yeah, of course, they
Yeah,
rather
I don't
term
know
it
what you would call.
surrealism or
Yeah,
something
I
like
know
that.
there is no such. Surrealism is not a genre at all. Okay.
Yeah. Do you think some art house movies trespass strict
Yeah, you're
genre
correct.
conventions?
In fact, they're not supposed to. In fact, art house movies are not supposed to conform to genre things. But the point is, there's always some precursor somewhere. You tell a story somewhere. You tell, like for example, you take Diwar. You take the character of the angry young man. There is a general school of thought which believes that he's Karna.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Karna actually is the general. So the question is, there will be precursors somewhere or the other, and that precursors will somehow. But the point is that they try. Look, they try for complete originality. They try for complete originality, art house films. But by and large, it's difficult for them. But they try for that. And I mean, the point is, many of them, it will take some effort to find out. For example, an autobiographical film made by somebody. Okay, you take something like Last Tango in Paris. So where would you fit Last Tango in Paris? I wouldn't know. Okay, then
Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't know what to genre. It's not that easy to fit films into genres, which is why you've got your film festivals where all sorts of things are being shown. The Holocaust film. I mean, it's Holocaust film. It is not expected to be a genre film. You're supposed to be talking the truth about a
But
certain
then war
situation.
film, like sometimes
War
the
film,
Holocaust
yeah,
films are
war film is
they are
actually a
termed
genre.
under war films.
Yeah, but I mean, World War II, it's not really a war film. War films, I know if you look at a war film as a genre, okay,
Yeah.
something like Saving Private Ryan and all that, it's as a genre, it would be to this Holocaust film would not be as a genre of war film, but you can call it because it is set in times of war, right? War film, there's a certain thing of soldiers required to achieve certain ends. They go, they lose people. There's a lot of courageous thing. That is a
So
standard
they
thing.
call it so they call it a historical piece, right? A historical epic. No, not an epic, sorry,
Yeah.
but a historical piece.
War
Say a
films are
film like
war films.
Pianist.
Yeah, Pianist would
The
be a Holocaust film. They're what is this thing? Schindler's List. It wouldn't
Schindler's
be by
List.
and
Yeah.
large. It's set in times of war, but it wouldn't be like Saving Private Ryan, okay, or the Russian war films. I don't know if you've seen these Russian war films. Come and see,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Come and see. Yeah.
come and see, okay. They are
So
war films.
just like the Holocaust films, would you say that a film like say Garam Hawa
It's a partition
is a
film.
partition film? Yeah.
Partition film. So the question is, now let's look at this. We look at partition. Okay, the important
Yeah.
thing is genre films are specific to cultures in some sense. When two cultures share the same experience, you'll probably get two different. If you take the for example partition is an experience, okay, you take partition as experience. What is the, I think you change the slide. Now if you take for example, let us look at various cultures. For example, why is it that alien films come from what countries?
Like the first world countries, America and
America,
I,
not France, not Germany. Okay,
yeah, no,
America, Russia, right?
America and
England,
Russia. Yeah.
England at one point, not anymore. And the reason is that these people are the top of the world, right? They don't want to talk to other people.
Yeah.
they, they want to talk only to the best. They feel that they've. The same thing with England. When War of the Worlds was written by Wells, England was sitting at top of the world, right? It was
Yeah.
a world. It was the ruling the world. So the question is that entire thing, colonial experience, all that meeting new people, yeah, I mean, it is a kind of colonial experience, but it is reverse colonialism. Rather than we colonizing places, spaces, those people are colonizing us. Was that sense? So it was a kind of sense of guilt which came out of colonialism. On one side, you've got men conquering other planets. On the other side, you've got other planets conquering you. Okay, it's a kind of inverse or whatever of the colonial thing. See, before these things came, before the alien stories came, there was stuff like Gulliver's Travels. You had these
Yeah.
people traveling around. Okay, Rider Haggard, the colonial thing, going to Africa, experiences in Africa. They were sort of pre-colonial fiction, right? Pre-colonial, rather pre-science fiction, pre-alien thing. But then when they ran out of that, they started having alien things. Okay, what is the other alien genre or rather SF genre? Japan. Okay,
Yeah.
you've got your Godzilla, you've got your
Monster films.
monster films. They came out of World War II again because of radiation and this and that. They came. All of them have to do with radiation creating these monsters, right? This is a
Yeah.
basic thing.
So,
Okay.
like coming back to the because I find this very interesting. This the partition films or the Holocaust films, can they be called political films as well? Can they be?
No, political film is too vague a term. It's more thematic content. It is not to do with. It is not a genre. Oh no, let us look at this now. When you study these genres in some way, okay, you will
Yeah.
find you will find a discourse. What is it all about, right? So, for example, the historical thing, if you look at the partition films, more than films, there are novels, partition novels in India, right? There are
Yeah.
many more partition novels and partition stories like Sadat Hasan Manto and all these. A lot
Yeah.
of people who've written partition stories, partition novels, Kushwant Singh. Not so many films. There are like Pinjar. Okay.
Okay. Akhil asks, what about the Western films? Are they also an aspect of how the Western people see the
No,
world?
no. Westerns are specifically to do with cowboys and Indians. Basically, cowboys. Okay. When you see the Western, the word Western is a genre. Okay. When you say Western films, it depends on what you mean. All
Yeah. Is
films
it
from
a
the
genre
West are
film, or are you
Western
talking about
films,
films
right?
made in the West?
Okay. All films made in America, in England, in Europe are all Western films in the sense that they are from the West. The other thing is the genre of the Western, which is cowboy films, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Like your Hang Them High, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Okay. I don't know if you've seen these films. For a few
Django.
dollars more, Django. These are Italian, but something like Unforgiven, something like Stagecoach, something like
I
uh,
Know.
I know McKenna's Gold. Yeah, all these.
Once Upon a Time in the West.
Western
All that.
genre,
Yeah.
yeah. Western genre has specifically to do with the origin of the American state, colonial, what are they called? The settlers going and making the land suitable for, ridding them of savages and making it suitable for civilization. This is the basic thing of the original Westerns. The Red Indian was a fundamental component of the original Westerns. It changed. I'll go into that later. Okay.
Okay, there's another question. Can we say all films are political in nature as it imprints the ideology, beliefs, and distinctive style of the filmmaker?
If all colors were blue, would you have a word blue? Right?
But what I think that like it's meant by this is that every story kind of reflects the politics of the world that it's set in, right?
It would reflect, but for a film to be political, it'll have to be conscious that it's political, right? It'll
But
have
say
to, yeah.
unconsciously, say a film like last week we talked about Spider-Man. I would say that it's political in the sense that there's this kid from
Yeah, yeah.
Queens, and
But that is,
yeah.
you're talking about the work of the interpreter.
Okay.
The
Oh,
interpretation could be political. That is, you find politics, which I would do. My normal thing is to find politics in everything I see, is my basic thing. But you can't call them political films. You find politics in the film, that every film has politics is a different matter. Another thing to call it a political film. See, by and large, in terms of
auteurism.
in
Yeah.
terms of auteurism, would Bergman be political? No, he would not be a political filmmaker. Would Woody Allen be a political filmmaker? He would not be.
He
Costa
would like
Gavras would
no,
be.
but
What
yeah,
would
Costa
be?
Gavras is, Pasolini is, and
Pasolini is.
all
Godard
these people
is.
are. Godard
Godard
is.
is. Rivette
Uh,
is
Wo-
not.
yeah,
Truffaut is not.
even Woody Allen would be in some sense like not to say his Manhattans and Annie Halls, but the films that where he kind of parodies the socialist states, say Banana and Sleeper,
Yeah, but it's
and
more, no, I wouldn't call it political because there is really no political content there. He's having a good laugh at them, that's all. You can't call it political film. See, I mean,
but
if you,
it's an American way of looking at this, right?
no, I mean, if you have a look at some, for example, let's look at some other political films, American film. What are the other ones? The Candidate. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All the President's Men.
All the President's Men. Yeah, it's about journalism. It is political. We talk about American action sequence where the sequence is shot in what is this?
Could you talk about American action sequences
Action
films?
film is not a genre.
Okay, we'll be
Okay,
coming to it.
we'll
We'll
come
be
to
coming to
that.
it,
Okay,
guys.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
all
yeah.
right. The point is that
Anyways, we're like
political film
at time.
has
Yeah.
to do with social structure. It has to do with of analysis of some sort about society, class, this thing. I think a lot of Kubrick stuff could be, not all of it. Some of it could be political in some way. Okay.
Yeah, but of course, Clockwork Orange is very political in nature, right?
Not really. I think
Because it
probably,
speaks about violence and the kind of authoritarian regime in which violence thrives.
yeah, probably in some sense it could be called, yeah, possibly. Satire usually have some political content in some
Yeah,
sort, yeah.
satire does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
sure.
could have, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Moving
do,
on, we're halfway through the
yeah, okay,
time.
all
Yeah,
right,
we're
all
running
right,
out of
okay,
time. Yeah.
all right, okay. Okay,
We'll,
theme,
we'll be coming to your question. What's your name? Jagan will be coming to your question.
okay. The
Yeah.
question is, so if you take something like musical,
Yeah.
different genres, different cultures produce musicals of their own. There is actually no comparison between the American musical and the Indian musical. They're
Yeah.
completely different. I will talk about it, after this session is over. The next subsequent sessions, I'll be dealing with individually with genres in some way, recommend films, show sections. The Indian musical is not comparable to the American musical, which is different from the German musical, which is different from the German musical was in the 50s. So the question is, you use the word musical, their basic historical presumptions are completely different. The Egyptian musical is another, very different, okay? So the point is, though noir seems to be a common thing that there are across cultures, what happens is that when different cultures produce a certain genre, these cultures will have specific thing, except that they are broadly the Cain and Abel story of some person led into crime, committing a dastardly crime, person losing innocence is a fundamental thing. Losing innocence through brutal means is basically so shall we say a fundamental thing of noir. Similarly, all genres, the western, for instance, the western is by and large only an American genre, right? But the Italians produced it. I won't go into it right now. I'll talk about it a little later. Okay. Okay. Now genre film. No genre. Next, go to the next slide. Any questions up to here?
Yeah, we can take. I think like if we can take Jagan's question, could you talk about American action sequences in films where the sequence is shot in another country, especially chases where locals are bystanders and they're
Yeah.
connected to American foreign policy?
No, it
So
can be like,
yeah,
for example, I'll tell you this much. For example, only Americans are allowed to do this in other countries. Okay, by and large, only James Bond was the only person in a non-American cinema who's allowed to run amok in outside the England. By and large, you could say that America has a certain ownership of the world. I don't know if you've. It has a certain sense of ownership of the world. If you traveled abroad and you go into sat in an airport, you can tell by the way people looking around who are the Americans and who are not the Americans. They've got a certain sense of ownership of the world, so that thing is visible in your what is this the Born series.
Bond. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Bond
Bond series.
supremacy.
Yeah,
The
it is.
Goa
It's
escape
India.
sequence.
It's that
Yeah,
basic sense, that they are sort of handing out justice to the rest of the world, right? They're
the
basically
savior
policemen of the
complex.
world, right? So
Yeah,
somewhere along the way, you find some people not behaving rightly towards their own people, like Saddam Hussein or what's his name, or this chap Saddam Hussein, or the Libyan guy Gaddafi. They
Gaddafi. Yeah,
just remove the guy. Okay, they'll remove this chap and replace him with somebody else. That basic thing is that they're basically the arbiters of justice. What is right and what is wrong, they are going to do it. That basic sense is there. So what you say, correct? That is it's political. The films are political, but there are also criticism of. Okay, what do you think of the criticism in Born Identity? The criticism of the CIA. What do you think of that? Is that criticism of American foreign policy? I'll ask this person who just asked me this question.
yeah. Jagan, you
Okay,
can
what do you
unmute
think?
yourself if you want to and just
Yeah,
join in.
please, please.
Acha, I think it is criticism, but it is criticism which is sublimated by the state. In the sense, the state allows a certain amount of dissent, and
Okay, let me ask you.
rebellion.
Okay,
Uh,
let's look at this. Okay, what
uh,
is the fundamental premise? I hope the public is okay with this, right?
Yeah,
This the fundamental premise of the Born Identity. What is the tragedy of the Born Identity? Look at that question.
uh,
Born Identity. It is
oh,
the
okay.
fact that a voting American has been turned into a machine. It is Americans. They're not
Hmm, hmm,
concerned so much with American foreign policy.
hmm,
They are
hmm,
objecting to what the CIA did to Americans.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
Okay.
hmm, hmm.
Okay. They're not objecting to the fact that they killed some Russian guy. They're not objecting to the guy. The point is that after killing the Russian guy, that this chap's sense of self-worth was ruined. That as David Webb, He was a voting American as David Webb with an identity, right? With a personality, something.
Right,
That
right.
personality was taken away from him, and he was made into a killing machine, right? He was rid of his Americanness. You get my point?
Right,
That is
right, right,
it. That's
right.
what it's all about, right? So the question, you mustn't see this as actually some kind of criticism of American foreign policy. You get my point? Okay.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
It's more a function of
Yeah.
identity. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
The basic thing is identity is important,
Mm,
not what
mm,
he
mm,
did.
mm, mm, mm,
The
mm.
born identity, David Webb is his real identity as a voting American. This is the basic tragedy. That is, a voting American, an ordinary voting American, is taken out of there and made into a killing machine with some fake identity. This is the basic tragedy. That's what the film is about. Okay. Okay.
Nice.
Now,
Thank you. Thank you.
okay. So
No,
that
no,
is
please.
yeah. Okay. Now where was I?
We're talking about the
Okay.
genre of
Genre. Okay. Now the point
political.
is that there is a certain story is set in motion. A story is a mythologizing of a certain historical moment, like your cowboy thing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
The point is that that once the historical moment is over, what happens is when the historical moment is over, it is made into myth as a permanent thing of all times. It goes on and on and on until for some reason now we don't find cowboy films anymore. No more westerns. I don't know what is the reason. You can speculate about it. What happened historically to put an end to the western as a genre? Okay. It comes in other it's seen in other guises of various sorts, but the western itself as a genre seems to have died out. I don't know why. What is the reason for it? Nobody makes westerns anymore.
Quentin Tarantino makes some, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's a different thing. It's not really. He's basically giving us Tarantino. He's giving us Tarantino I mean, his love of cinema is showing in various ways. It's not really faithful to the western in any way. He's not really doing anything. It's not his what is that film? War film, World War II.
Inglourious Bastards.
That's not a war. It's not a war film at all. It's basically pastiche of some sort. Tarantino giving us Tarantino. Basically, it's that. Okay, so it's not really part of historically a war film or anything. So when we won't go into that. So the point is that historical moment. It's like this, right? A trauma will generate mythologies around it. A great independence movement and origins of a nation will create genres around it. In India, it has not happened. There is no genre around independence. Okay, there's not even a genre around partition, in the sense there are a few films here and there, but not really shall we say a solid genre where you keep on going back to that like you have in western. Who knows how many westerns were created, how many westerns were made, who knows how many noir films? Nobody knows how many.
But then Logan
correct.
was
No,
a
you're right. You're
neo-Western
right.
movie.
It's the same thing. When noir is like Cain and Abel, right? The original story is something else. So what you're saying is that the same pattern in different costumes. Okay, the same pattern will look. What is a standard western? There's a dirty town full of crooks. A lone outsider comes in, cleans up the town, and rides out again. And the woman falls in love with him, and he rides out again. If it's on horseback, it's a western. It could be anything. It could be, for example, on a planet where I think there's one movie called Soldier. I don't know if you saw that one movie called Soldier with Kurt. What's his name? Kurt
Russell.
Okay, it's this thing. People are attacking them from outside. It's not very different from some western. I don't know which one. Magnificent Seven, the new version. Have you seen?
Yeah. With Chris,
It's very much like Kurt
yeah.
Russell's Soldier. Okay, there are people from outside who are terrorizing a town. This man comes in, and he somehow does something. Here there are 7 people, but this man comes in alone. He mobilizes the people and fights them. 7 Samurai. Soldier is exactly 7. 7 Samurai is also Western, right?
Yeah,
It's
it can be
Japanese,
called.
it's basically the same thing, right? But you can't attribute it to the origins of the American state. It takes on other mythological dimensions, but that's the basic thing. That the same story will continue, but it won't be called a Western anymore. Okay, the Western has to invoke the American history in some way. This is necessary. Okay.
And Abhishek, what I like as you said, what I think Vasan sir is referring to is that, of course, genre is something that has been created in terms of like putting it into brackets. That's what essentially is being done. and
Okay.
once the big studios and everyone, they start using it like, PR and marketing and
Yeah.
stuff,
Okay.
it helps them.
Yeah.
So
No, shall we?
yeah.
Shall we screen those two things? Just the. Or shall I? Shall I? Will you see it? But your own thing. I'm recommending these films. Other than show it, I seem to be running out of time. I don't want to take up time here. It's okay. Will you watch the movies yourselves? Is it okay
Okay,
with you?
we'll just we'll just post the films that sir
Yeah.
recommends, and you
Okay.
guys can watch
All
these
right.
films.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I won't show the movies here. 3 minutes from YouTube. One the three films which I'm planning to show. I was planning to show. One was Postman Always Rings Twice, which is noir. Okay. There is one musical called 42nd Street, 1933. Postman Always Rings Twice is a later film, but it's a remake of a film which was made in 1933. Okay. So noir, and I wanted to show you that two different sides are completely different, which have come out of the same historical experience. You watch the films yourself. One more I'll show you, that I'll probably show. Okay. So the question is, okay. Okay. So all right, I've come up to here, all right. The question is that when the historical moment is over, the genre creates a mythology. It's like this, okay? What happened in your childhood, a traumatic experience in your childhood, would be turned into some myth inside the family.
Yeah.
How this happened, who came to your rescue, some awful thing happened, but something happened, some good came out of it, the result of that. I mean, these are all the basic things that your own lives will be full of these mythologies created within the family.
True.
I mean, am I making sense here?
Yeah.
So the question is, the thing is, the basic thing.
You
Okay, what is this
mentioned that the
question?
independence movement and partition did not create genres around it. Why do you think this is so?
Okay. Now this is a question which I wanted to answer, but I forgot. That basically yesterday I talked about history being absent in Indian cinema. The time, that the entire thing of time, not like yesterday, last week. The
Yeah.
time and space, the time is sort of, it's, they can't deal with historical time. So the question is, since historical time is not being dealt with, you can't deal with 1947. You can't deal with that. So the question only in art cinema can deal with it. When popular cinema deals with it, it doesn't deal with it as 1947, like in 1942 Love Story. They will deal with it as patriotism, like your Lagan. Okay. Lagan is not historical. They deal with it as an emotion of patriotism. They will not deal with it, which is an emotion, which is a kind of message, which is a kind of eternal. It's got eternal value. Okay, value of the importance of Indians and that sort of thing. It is not really to do anything to do the historical experience of independence movement with the politics of the Congress Party. It has nothing to do with all that. This is very different from if you take something like the Patriot, American film Patriot, that
Yeah.
actually concerned with the historical moment. They may be bogus in some way. It may not be, but it's still historical myth.
But
Whereas it's very difficult. Yeah, please.
so say a film like Gadar, which was like a big blockbuster, and it
Yeah,
was set around it was a love story, and
yeah,
in the end it was all patriotic and
correct.
everything.
Yeah.
But the incepting, like the first thing that happens, the first action that propels the story is the partition in the film.
No, the first again you read the film. The first partition, this guy meeting that woman.
Okay, it was before partition.
It is not only that, it is a romantic story about a Hindu and a Muslim, no, Sikh and a Muslim, right?
Yeah.
It's a romantic story,
Only the setting is the partition.
divided by Pakistan. So it's basically a love story with partition as the
As
backdrop.
a
It is not
backdrop. Yeah.
really, yeah.
Yeah.
The basic, it's the
Okay.
same thing with all of them. They will go with love. The eternal notion of love across barriers is the basic message, right? It
Okay.
doesn't begin with partition. It begins with love.
Yeah.
Get
The
my point?
flashback. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be a little thing on what the way you read it. You got to see the film and read it that way. What is really the first event, right? So the genre myths will, after the myth is over, it will continue, right? Okay, then.
Yeah. Ankit's asking like, what about Garam Hawa and Pinjar?
Garam Hawa is art cinema. There Pinjar also. See, the question is, art cinema is able to do this. Art cinema tries to do this, tries to be historical in some way. Okay, art cinema does that. I think both our Garam Hawa and Pinjar will not will go along with the Western thing. These are basically, I mean, art cinema. It's meant for educated people, right? It's meant for an audience, a different kind of audience from your Gadar, right?
Sholay is an Indian Western, I think. Like,
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, you can call it that, but it's basically like your science fiction Western would be, what is that film I said? Soldier would be science fiction Western. So the question is, the same patterns will come. Sholay could be so this your The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is an Italian Western. Once Upon a Time in the West is an Italian Western. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
The pros to
yeah,
different
every
Westerns also.
genre will have a message or other discourse. Yeah, you got a point. It's basically that you have, your basic tendency in Indian cinema is to look at history in terms of mythology. Okay, to find mythological, what do you say, mythological models for historical events. This is basically the thing. It gets a little complicated. I can't explain it here, but the basic thing is to find historical events and say this happened. This was. You can find that all the time in public space. Politicians talking. Ram Rajya. I mean, Ram Rajya was a political thing, right?
Yeah.
Went on. Why did they talk about it as Ram Rajya? Who knows what Ram Rajya is? Why do you want to find Hum Aapke Hain Kaun is Ram Rajya? The nation is Ram Rajya is Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. Okay, which is why they keep doing this Ram all the time, right? It's basically a nation as Ram Rajya is Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. It's a political thing, but basically, why are you trying to fit democracy, human rights, and all these things into Ram Rajya, right? That's only one example. You're basically trying to find historical events into mythological models. This is the way.
But
This is the
sir,
basic difference between, for
like
example,
JP Datta's war films, like say LOC Kargil or Border or all these films, don't you think they kind of, like what you said, they revolve around a specific event in history?
look, okay, what is the basic thing of a war film? What is the fundamental thing which happens in a war film? Definition of space, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very important. How is a battle fought? Definition of space. The tanks come from this side. Look, if it exceeds a little, you shouldn't.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah,
Okay. The 15th cavalry came from this side, something else came from this side, somewhere soldiers came across. They usually have. So what happens in war movies by and large is that the map is a key thing. Okay, a key in all war films where battles are shown. I mean, specifically battles. This map is a key thing. In JP Datta's movies, the map is missing altogether, right? There are no maps. It's just people standing opposite each other and fighting kind of thing. And that the JP Datta is a patriotic film. It's not a war film in the sense of historical. It could have happened anytime.
No, that is there. I'm just saying in terms of the narrative device of using a particular event in history and
Yeah, but that event, I mean, only because his brother seems to have passed away in that battle or some such thing. So it matters a lot to him, but nobody knows what that battle is. It's not something, there have been plenty of battles, right? We know that Kargil is an important thing, a moment. Everybody knows Kargil, right? But many of these other things, one really doesn't know what to make. So it's a more a patriotic film. It's the same thing in Udi. It's also a patriotic film. It's not a historical film, right? It's basically, this thing is running on patriotism, which is a sentiment. It's basically a sentiment of some sort. All of the soldiers are there, and basically, what is the message? Okay, let's look at it. What is the message in Border?
That like India won.
No, the message is the army and the air force are both equally important to the nation.
Oh yeah, that is essentially like on the surface. I was like,
yeah. Both of them meet, the air force man and the army man, and both of them say, we will do this, we will do that. Finally, everybody collaborates and comes into. That's not a historical thing, right? That's a sentiment that everybody can do is right for the nation. Is a sentiment. It's not really a historical. You get my point? It's not a historical peg to put it on, right? Okay. Now, the revision of genres. Okay. Now, the point is, what happens is that the same event which is seen in a certain way, as history progresses, you start seeing it in a new way, right? You take when the Vietnam War came, okay, this entire thing of the Western was reevaluated simply because the Americans were behaving in a way. There was counterculture, anti-Vietnam protests. So the country, the state was behaving in a certain way. Therefore, they started showing the Red Indians as good guys. I will deal with this separately as the Westerns, okay, Western thing. They deal with the Red Indians as the good guys and the white guys as the bad guys. You should see this. I'll talk about it at a later point. There's no point bringing it. So the question is that historical circumstances make the revision of genres necessary at some point. Okay. Then you've got this, for example, the spaghetti Western. Why did the spaghetti Western come? Because post-war, the Italian Western, post-war, Italian Westerns are not like your Sholay. Sholay may call it a curry Western, but Italian Western deals with America. It doesn't deal with Italy.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason was there was a lot of migration from Italians to America, and there was some kind of contact being made by Italians with American Italians. So because of that contact, there was a kind of cross-cultural fertilization of some sort. So the Italian Western came out of that. Your the good, the bad, and the ugly. The what is the other one? The
For a
Once
few
Upon a
dollars
Time in the
more.
West.
Yeah.
For Once Upon a Time, probably the greatest is Once Upon a Time in the West. The basic thing is their thing is completely different. They're cynical in some way. They have really no investment in the American state. Okay, they don't valorize the American state. Their entire thing is different. So the Italian Western, spaghetti Western came out of that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Then by and large, this is as far as revision is concerned, the number of filmmakers who can be called revisionists. There's one Robert Altman who
Yeah.
made McCabe and Mrs. Miller. I'll talk about it later when I come talk about the Western. Or you've got this Sam Peckinpah. Yeah, you can have subgenres. It's possible. Like for example, like in science fiction, the alien SF, the alien itself. I said there are two different. One is the alien invasion. The other is moving and discovering aliens somewhere else. There are two different things altogether, right? So there are subgenres. There will be genres. There will be subgenres. There will be small categories. There will be division among each. It's always there, right? Okay. Is it possible to combine different genres? It's possible. For example, you can combine the science fiction and noir. Can you tell me where science fiction and noir can be combined? It's possible, but only under certain rules. Blade Runner is a combination of SF and noir, right? Yeah. Apocalypse Now did what? Apocalypse Now did what exactly?
Oh, yeah. Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, what did it do?
It combined.
Yeah, not so much. I think where
it combined a kind of like a road movie into a.
Correct. Correct. You're right. It's partly a road movie. It works like a road movie also. Correct. You're right. So it's possible to have a road movie and you can combine it with some other things. So it's possible, but it's not always. Like for example, why don't Martians land in 19th century America? Why is it? Why is they always land in the present? Because one is expectations from history, from science, technology. The other is expectations. They belong to two different historical moments altogether. And those two don't usually go together, right?
Yeah.
But under certain circumstances, it's possible to combine genres, use the characteristics of one genre into something else. It's possible, okay? When the moods are very different, okay, you can't combine them. So it's possible to combine genres, but you've got to be careful how you do it. You can't just bring in science fiction subplot, okay, into a Western. That you can't do that.
They did it actually. Like they made a film called Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
Yeah, it was probably parody.
It was a parody.
Right? Parody. Parody, you can do that because you're debunking everything. Parody, it's okay.
Okay,
this needs to be studied. This Marvel and making superhero movies. What exactly is the thing? I don't know. It will require a lot of effort to figure out what this is. I've not been able to figure it out so far. What these superhero films are, what their generic content is, what their discourse is. It is no longer what it was at one point. Okay, what is it? It is once again a post-depression film. Which one? Your Superman and all that, crime fighting and all that. Here it's become completely different. It's something else now. So I won't talk to that, but I don't know enough about it in the sense that I can't really tell you where they came from, what is it. I don't like them. That's a different matter. But the point is I can't tell you very much about them. I haven't really thought about it. It needs thought. You will not find also if you look about world literature, you will not find anything on all these things in the sense of genre where this one came as a genre. It's generic constituents or generic components. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now it's more or less over. I'll play that one sequence from this movie. I would strongly recommend you see it, which combines noir and musical. It's called Pennies from Heaven. It's about this guy who's basically involved in a murder, but he's a song salesman, right? He's a lascivious guy running after women all the time. He's a song salesman who is involved in a murder, and finally he keeps singing all the time, imagining himself singing. I want to play this one song. It's set in the Depression. a beggar on the street. He picks him up, gives him a meal, and that beggar starts singing a song. Actually, he's him imagining all these songs being sung because he's a great fan of music, right? At the end of it, he's unjustly accused of a crime he hasn't committed, a murder he hasn't committed, and he's hanged. But the point is, when he's being hanged, he sings a song and gets hanged. Okay, but it's
Yeah.
all in his head in some way. It's a kind of thing. I'll just play this one from Pennies from Heaven. Just play that thing. Theme parks. What is this, Scorsese?
Oh no, he's just making a comment on what Akhil said about how do you feel about Marvel and DC films. So basically, Martin Scorsese
Yeah.
made a comment about.
Scorsese, yeah, I agree with this, Martin Scorsese on that point. Scorsese is basically a genre filmmaker. Gangster film is his basic thing, but he's done other things also. Okay, any questions?
Could you please repeat the names?
The last movie, yeah.
Last movie, the nasty one. Okay, yeah, it's Dancer in the Dark.
Dancer in the Dark by Lars von Trier. You can try that. Dancer in the Dark. There are other musicals to transform the thing from Cabaret. I think you should try that also if you're looking
Yeah,
for nasty musicals.
Cabaret.
Cabaret is a good one. It's set in Nazi Germany. It's a good. I mean, they're all transformed musicals. They're no longer doing the same thing which the original musical was doing. They've done this thing of revision in some way to suit other purposes. So Dancer in the Dark is that sort of thing. La La Land, yeah, probably. I've not seen La Land.
La La Land is much more of the traditional musical
Okay,
form,
possibly.
like
Yeah, probably,
like
yeah.
Singing in the Rain and
Which
these
is my
films.
favorite
42nd
movie.
Street.
Yeah, which is my favorite movie. Favorite musical. Maybe my
Okay,
favorite
which is your favorite film? Yeah, Shubham Ganviru. Favorite film is a very broad term, man. Like this-
favorite musical. I like this one called Bandwagon. You should see that with Fred Astaire. That is a traditional musical. Bandwagon. Yeah, but I'll tell you. I'll talk about it later. I'll suggest it later. Okay, The Bandwagon. I think it was called Fred Astaire.
Okay, let's just do one thing. Like we can wrap it up at 6:15 also. Everyone just name a genre and Sir will recommend what he thinks is like. So if you could do that, like according to you in that genre, which is the film that you would really strongly recommend. So yeah, I would invite everyone to just throw in genres right now.
Mystery thriller, Hitchcock, obviously. Vertigo.
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 Okay, keep it coming.
Suspense also, the Hitchcock himself. It's not noir, it's suspense also. Hitchcock is the best master of suspense. There's another guy called, try this thing called The Narrow Margin. It's not the new one, the old one. Period drama, I don't know, period drama. What period exactly?
I think it's a very like broadly Akhil is saying like period drama as in anything historical. I think.
Film noir, I would put Chinatown.
Chinatown.
Yeah, that's of course neo noir. Chinatown, yeah. I would recommend. I don't know if anybody. It's a very famous film. Everybody would have seen it.
I think Chinatown is
Chinatown. Yeah. Yeah. So there are westerns. I would recommend Once Upon a Time in the West by Sergio Leone.
Yeah.
Dystopian. Difficult to say. It's not a genre. Dystopian. What would I? There are a couple of Russian ones, which Russian science fiction is very dystopian. Tarkovsky's Stalker.
Yeah.
So Russian SF, Russian science fiction is very different from American science fiction. It's extremely pessimistic. It's about the byproducts of science. You know what the story of Stalker is? Stalker you would have seen. I don't know if you've seen the movie.
Yeah, we've seen.
There is this novel on which it was based called Roadside Picnic. Look at the title of it. Roadside Picnic is a great novel. And it's what does it mean? It's about these Martians or people from some other planet who are passing by. And they, like you, when you're going on a picnic and you stop by the road, you leave little breadcrumbs, you leave plastic bottles, you leave this thing and all that and go away, right? So then these Martians have come and left all these things. Martians or people from some other planet, they've left all these things, have gone away. And all that has contaminated this area so much that it's become some kind of zone where these smugglers are going in and trying to pick up artifacts and sell it in the black market. Okay, yeah, please take my PPT can be taken, no problem.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Kirandeep asks, what about horror?
Horror, my favorite is this chap. What's his name? Cronenberg. Dead Ringers. Yeah. Dark comedy is not a genre, but dark comedy is not a genre. Black comedy is not a genre. We don't know. It's too broad a term. It wouldn't be a genre.
Yeah, but like it is a subgenre, don't you think?
No, part of what genre? Of comedy? Comedy is not a genre.
Comedy is not
Comedy
a
is too
genre.
broad. No, it's too broad. It doesn't. There's no formula in comedy. There is a screwball comedy, which is the American thing, which could be called a genre. The silent comedy, which is a genre. Okay,
Situational comedy. Would you call it that a genre?
which one? I mean, you'll have to name the thing. This
Okay,
American
so
screwball comedy is one thing. French comedy, there is some kind of thing.
what would you call, say, a film like Doctor Strangelove?
Satire. It's political satire. Politicals, you can call it political
Or and
satire.
Some Like It Hot?
Some like it always is American comedy, screwball comedy, or whatever. Yeah, it's that.
Or
Some
say
like it.
okay, the new ones, say the films of Todd Phillips, The Hangover, or these films.
I've not seen them.
Okay.
I've not seen them. But French comedies. Why is the
Why
band?
is Bandwagon your favorite film?
Yeah, jail. Yeah, that you could call that. Yeah, that's also a genre. Jail.
Jailbreak.
Yeah, jailbreak. Also jail. Yeah,
Prison films.
prison films. Yeah, there would be a genre of some sort. The number of prison films. Yeah, that could be a genre. Actually, I've not named all the genres, and if you look for it, there'll be a huge number.
Yeah, of course.
It could be.
There's a cop genre as well, I think.
Yeah, the
Cop
policier, what the French call the policier.
Police.
Is different from the detective film. The policier, because he has power. The private detective who done it is different. The
Yeah.
French,
Even buddy cop films is a genre, I think.
yeah, probably this American hard-boiled detective story, like your Maltese Falcon, this one. Talk about the genre landscape in Indian cinema. Actually, there are this thing of it's far more vague in Indian cinema. One of the things is this: since the historical moment is never valorized in the sense where the historical moment is not important, everything goes back to mythology. All movies generally tend to be around mythology. So what you can hear say in Indian cinema is that, see, for example, you take a horror movie, Ramsay Brothers, you will have songs and dances in the Ramsay Brothers film, right? Okay. So the question is that in an American thing, the horror would not allow the songs and dances. You hearing me? Okay.
Right.
Okay. So the question is that the songs and dances seems to be an integral part of all movies, which means that the social is some kind of thing. So you don't have this distinction between generic classifications. But if there are some, youth film would be something which would include Bobby, and it would include, but largely dependent on the dominant elements. That would be the basic thing on which you decide. But it's not in this way where it's watertight compartments almost in American genre. Okay, the Western.
Did the genre landscape change after globalization? Like, is there a pre and post in terms of milestones, in terms of how we categorize cinema? Or
This kind of stuff is the stuff of research. Okay, you can't expect me to answer such questions. These are very interesting topics. Genre. What is the? I mean, what you also talked earlier. The thing about the superhero film, especially this Avengers thing. It's one thing to say that it was because some company merged with some other company, therefore the Batman and Superman got together. But that is not an explanation for why the genre came about, right?
True.
And if it succeeds in some way, you should be able to say why so many people were brought together and what is it doing to the public in some way, right? Bandwagon has got Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire in it. I'm very fond of Fred Astaire. He's terrific. It's a terrific. Independent movies are not a genre. They are simply
just
not
a way
part
a film
of
is made.
Yeah. They are usually, by and large, independent films will be art house. They would not by and large. They would not be genre. No, I'm not too sure about that. You'll have to look at it individually.
Okay, so thank you for joining in.
Thank you very much.